I know there's no such thing as a moral victory, but there is a quality loss.
I want to see a team play with that energy and play with that effort.
There's one feisty little rookie that likes to force missed tackles.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Upon Further Review, brought to you by Coors Light. I'm your host, Paul Gutierrez. And the Raiders are coming off their 10th straight defeat. This one a 34-10 setback to the New York Football Giants. The Raiders fall to 2-14 on the season, solidifying not necessarily a hold yet. They haven't clinched the top pick in the draft yet, but it's looking pretty good or pretty bad, depending upon your perspective here, for a top 2 draft pick to kind of get this thing going in a different direction for the future. Joining me now to help me break down what the Raiders can look forward to in the season finale against an old rival in the Chiefs, James Jones. James, thanks for joining me. So just real quick, I guess, what do the Raiders have to play for here in this finale? Because from a player's perspective, I know you guys don't like, as a player, you didn't like hearing about draft picks and things like that. You wanted to put up good effort. But from the health of an organization, what is at stake here for the Raiders in this finale?
I think what's at stake is going into the season with kind of a bang, with some confidence. You know, I don't care if it's 1 win. I don't care if it puts us at 3 wins. When you go out on the football field and you play well and you find a way to win a football game, you go into that offseason with some confidence to that, man, hey, we finished. We did the right thing in the last game. We took the football field. That can carry over. And as a player, you're right. We never thought about the draft. We didn't care which rookie came in here. We want to go out here and we want to play good football. So I think for all the players out here, go out here, play good football, and find a way to get a W.
Yeah, it was interesting in the locker room after the game on Sunday. Jonah Laulu, he talked about it perfectly. He said, look, from a player perspective, players don't want to lose, because if you're losing, all you're doing is giving the team an opportunity to draft somebody to replace you. Because if you're losing, you're not playing well. So they just want to go out there, play well, try to get a win, put the best tape out there for not only their current team, but potential prospective future teams as well.
Absolutely. And as a player, you know, man, if you're not getting the job done, they are going to try to replace you. And when you look at this roster, it's a lot of holes that we need to fill in this roster. So when they go up there and they go up to them upper buildings up there and them upper floors and all that type stuff, you want to make sure when they turn the tape on, like, okay, James Jones is playing well. Can we put somebody on the other side of him? Or, you know, hey, White is playing well at linebacker. Can we get somebody to go with him? When they turn the tape on, you want to make sure that you're popping out and making some plays. And this is an opportunity for you to do that. And then not only that, it's a division opponent that's been beating us up for a very long time. You got an opportunity to go out with a bang and win a division game and go into the offseason kind of feeling good about yourself.
If the draft is truly the lifeblood of teams in the NFL, and that's what the Raiders are looking at here, a potential top 2 pick, and I know you like the defensive end, the edge rusher from Miami. Who are some of the other guys that are kind of sticking out to you right now? And obviously a lot of fans and a lot of prognosticators would say they got to go quarterback. They need a quarterback. Yeah. Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore. Yeah. Dante Moore is the number 1 prospect per Mel Kiper right now. Fernando, the Heisman Trophy winner, is number 2. Who are some of the guys that kind of jump out to you? Maybe not so much a name, but a position that they need to approach, and then maybe we'll look and see if Mel Kiper's got any of them listed for you.
To be honest with you, man, if I'm putting my GM cap on and we have the number 1 pick, I'm trading now. Oh. I'm trading now to see if I can get some more picks. I'm going to get an off-ball linebacker, and I'm trying to get me an edge rusher. I love the off-ball linebacker from Texas Tech. If we could go get the edge rusher, Ruben Bain, out of Miami, we can get him. But I'm going to trade out of that, see if I can get myself an extra first-round pick and go in there and build. I like some of these free agent quarterbacks. I know it's the draft, but I like if we can go get a Malik Willis, you know, maybe make a trade for a guy like Kyler Murray. You know, I know money and all that's involved with that, but, you know, I would love to go get a veteran quarterback, too, to see, you know, what they can do if you're not totally locked in and belief in Moore from Oregon or my man from Indiana. If you're not totally bought in on those two, I would trade out of that and I would go get me some defensive players, because we have a lot of holes to fill on our roster. But if I had to pick a Q, I'm going with Moore from Oregon. I just feel like he's more battle tested. I feel like he's more mobile. I feel like he can help make an offensive line better. If you get a mobile quarterback there with Genty, you could do a little bit more stuff of being creative to getting him outside the pocket. You got to worry about the read option. We're kind of seeing it with Caleb Williams. You've seen it with Jaden Daniels when he first came in the league, when you get a mobile guy like that. So I would target him if it was me.
So the Raiders, right now, they would have the number 1 pick if the season ended today, but it's looking like they'll have a top 2 guaranteed anyway. They haven't picked first overall, James, since 2007. I was covering the team
My
back
year.
then. Yeah, Jamarcus Russell. So that's going to generate a lot of reactions one way or the other. But when you flip the script now and you look at the Raiders rookies of this year, Ashton Genty's leading all rookie running backs, 888 yards. It would be nice for him to get that 1,000 if he can somehow get over 100 against the Chiefs. Caleb Rogers, he started 5 games this season. There was a big push from the fans to get him some time. He looks like he's kind of settling in. This was the stat that kind of surprised me or stopped me a little bit. Darian Porter, he looks the part, especially for a Pete Carroll cornerback. No touchdowns allowed. Tied for best among all rookie cornerbacks with a minimum of 100 snaps per Pro Football Focus. What are you seeing? What are you liking? What are you not liking? Or what can improve from this year's rookie class?
Well, number one, the scouts always used to tell me we don't get paid for the number 1 draft pick. Ashton Genty's supposed to be good. That's why he went number 6. That's not a hard scouting department for us to say, oh, look at Genty, he's good. You got to hit on the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th round. So I'm looking forward to seeing these dudes develop, because if we can hit on the 2nd and 3rd and 4th rounders, that's how you build a football team with those draft picks. You know, when you look at the best players on our team right now, the best player on our team right now is Max Crosby. And I believe he was a 4th rounder. Yeah. We hit on him. If we can hit on some of these other guys, Thornton and these guys, and they can turn in to really good players, that's how you build a roster. If Thornton can hit, if Beck can hit, you got 2 really good receivers that you drafted in the draft in the later rounds that can help your football team, you know. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop. Obviously, you know what I mean? This was an up and down year for a lot of them. But, you know, next year I'm looking forward to seeing if they could take that next step, because the game slows down for all of us in year 2.
Yeah, and if you have that base, those pillars there to build on, that's the positive, right? And that's what the whole purpose of the draft, like I said, the lifeblood of it is going forward. Flipping this page here a little bit, you got the Chiefs coming to town, and they're in an unusual situation here. They're not going to the playoffs. They're not winning the division. Their top 2 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and even Gardner Minshew, out. 3rd-string quarterback coming in for them. What are you seeing in this game? And we'll dive deeper into Travis Kelce in a little bit. But just knee-jerk reaction looking at the Chiefs. And again, it doesn't seem like they're the same Chiefs team, but they're going to come in, they're going to bring some fans, and they're going to generate some hatred from the fan base here.
And not only that, one thing I'm seeing for the Chiefs is they still fighting. They still battle, and you still see the championship DNA. You watch them against the Denver Broncos with a 3rd-string quarterback, and they looked like they was trying to get into the playoffs. The defense is flying around. It's going to be a tough challenge for our offense. The defense is still flying around. They got a lot of good players on the defensive side of the ball, starting with Chris Jones. You know, offensively is where they're really, really struggling, and why I believe they are a bad football this year, even when Patrick Mahomes was out there. Not a lot of explosive plays, not a lot of big-time playmakers. So I think defensively we can have a good shot of slowing them down. But how are we going to score offensively? We're going to have to be able to run the ball. And we're going to have to play with a lot of energy and effort, because they are going to come in the building trying to finish their season off strong as well.
Yeah, and it's always a rivalry, right? And from the Raider perspective, you don't want to lose out and go 0-6 in the division 2 straight years, which they haven't won a game in the AFC West in 2 years. So the Chiefs' defense, again, strong. They have the number 10 overall defense in the NFL. They're allowing only 1 passing touchdown per game, and that's something that the Raiders are only averaging 2 touchdowns a game, period, going on. And rush-wise, they're only giving up about 105 yards per game on the ground. Yeah. Again, we talked earlier about Ashton Genty needs 100, let me do my math here, 112 yards on the ground to get to 1,000. How can he get there in this game against this defense, you think?
I think it's going to have to be the Texans' approach. Yeah. I think it's going to have to be, man, remember he said he needs 10 carries to get in the rhythm. Well, let's get him in a rhythm, you know what I mean? And let's see what the young fella can do. Listen, it's the last game of the year. Let's see if he can carry the load. Let's see if he can take over a game. Let's see how it looks when the offense goes through him. Let's see how that looks. So we can come in here next year and say, man, listen, let's start with number 2, whoever the quarterback is. Right. Let's start with number 2. I want to see that this game. Listen, it's going to be a tough outing. Chris Jones, those boys, it is going to be a tough outing to run the ball. But I do want to see him against one of the top defenses in the league to see if he can take over a game. That's the only way he's going to get to it. If you give him 10 carries, he ain't going to get it.
My column coming off the game, James, was on Michael Mayer. He's pretty good too. There's a reason the Raiders drafted him in the second round, and he showed. He showed out. He showed up and he showed out with Brock Bowers, especially sidelined and cheering him on from the sidelines. Mm-hmm. He had a career high in catches, career high in receiving yards, and again, he just looked like he was so comfortable. I asked him how good it felt, and of course, being the good soldier, he said, "Look, we want to win. I want to win. I want to win every game." Then he paused and he caught himself, James, and he said, "But God, it felt good. Oh my God, it felt good to be able to go out there and run his choice routes on the stick, and then go inside where there's nobody there and truck people in the run game." He was having as much fun as he's had since he was at Notre Dame, he told me. What did you say?
Yeah. Man, I loved everything about it. And as I was watching the game, I was saying to myself, we need to get an offensive coordinator in here. And I'm not saying Coach O can't be that guy because he's still running Chip Kelly's system.
Sure.
But when you look at the Chargers, Harbaugh came over there and said, this is the style we are running. I don't care how pretty the ball looks coming out of your hand, Justin Herbert. I know you are a quarterback that's like that, but this is the style we're running. I'm going to bring in a 350-pound tight end in here / fullback to block. We have two dominant tight ends. Bring in an offensive coordinator, kind of like the Ravens back in the day. Lamar was running. You have Mark Andrews. You got Likely. You got these dudes too. Bring in an offensive coordinator that fits these two dudes. Because if you can run this offense through Brock Bowers and Mayer and have a run game through Genty, that's a heck of a start offensively. That's three big-time playmakers that can make plays. So I absolutely love what I've seen because it was kind of a reminder, like you said, of why we took him in the second round.
Yeah.
And I know Brock came and took a lot of that attention, how good he was, but you have two really good tight ends and a really good running back. That is an excellent place to start if you're walking in as an offensive coordinator saying, okay, we can beef up this offensive line, but I do have two good tight ends and a really good run game. Whoever the quarterback is, that's some good people to throw to and go through.
Yeah, when I talked to Trey Tucker after the game as well, I asked him, what did Michael Mayer show you guys on offense? And he told me, he showed me that we have the best tight end tandem in the league. He said, and he knew that from when he played him in college because Cincinnati, Notre Dame played in college. But he was quick to point this out too. He said, we beat them in college when Cincinnati beat Notre Dame. But he also said he was a dog then. He's a dog now. Yeah. He loved seeing it. And he pulled him aside and actually told him during the game how proud he was of him to be able to show up that way.
I love it.
From the wide receiver perspective, we're going now to wide receiver wisdom with James Jones. And I know he's not technically not a wide receiver, but he catches balls. Travis,
he moves like one.
And then Travis Kelce, same thing.
Yeah.
Same but different, I guess. From your perspective, wide receiver wisdom, it's a tongue twister. Travis Kelce, if this is his last game, how does he want to go out? What do you expect to see from him? I mean, the guy has been a Raider killer throughout his career. And no matter who's throwing him the ball. So what are you looking for? What are you expecting to see Sunday?
Man, not one of the best to ever do it in the tight end spot. The best to ever do it at the tight end spot. When you talk about the ability to run routes, the ability to run after a catch, the ability to make big-time plays. I mean, Travis Kelce is all that. I mean, he's a tight end, but he's a receiver in the tight end's body, the way he moves and all that. If I know Andy Reid and I know Travis Kelce, there's only one person this ball is going to finish his career out on the bank. If this is his last one, I know he ain't came out and told us for sure, but if this is his last one against the Raiders on the road, I know he's going to want to go out with a bang. And he's still a tough cover in the middle of the field. Safeties, linebackers, you're going to have to buckle up because he is going to get a lot of targets and a lot of opportunities his last outing out if this is going to be his last one. So, we're going to have to be ready for him. But, I just want to give him his flowers, because he is one hell of a player. We know he's walking in first ballot Hall of Famer, but one of the greatest to ever do it at that position for sure.
Appreciate it. And I can't let you go without asking you kind of a quick choose-your-own-adventure question here, though, James. Two things. So, number one, and you can answer whichever one you want or neither of them. Taylor, your favorite Taylor Swift song, or after the Steelers-Browns game, we saw Aaron Rodgers getting into it with a Browns defensive back. What was it like to hear Aaron Rodgers talk trash to the opponent? Your choice.
It was actually kind of funny, man, seeing Aaron Rodgers talk junk because he ain't really a trash talker. You know what I mean? He'll say like the smooth, slick stuff,
Yeah.
but he's not really a smash talker when like dudes is in his face and they shooting at him and all that. He ain't really a big trash talker like that. But if he makes a play, he'll definitely let you know, man, you ain't on my level and all that type stuff. So I would have actually loved to hear what he was saying back to him because I've been in there with him to where he getting a couple heated conversations, but we always protected our dudes. So we gonna get in the middle of it anyway, But
Perfect.
he was always a smooth trash talker, man. I mean, Aaron is, in my humble opinion, the greatest to ever throw the football, man. But trash talking is not what he is great at. And as for Taylor Swift, man, I mean, I don't even know a Taylor Swift song. Maybe if you started singing one, I could know, but.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I would just say "Shake It Off." We'll just put it that way because it goes right with Aaron Rodgers.
I do know that one. You know what I'm saying? But, so we'll just say that's both our favorites right there.
Absolutely, James. Thank you so much for helping me break this down, and looking forward to what's happening.
Not a problem. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, don't go anywhere. We've got Cynthia Frelund coming up next, and she's going to give us her numbers to know for the Raiders against the Chiefs.
Meet Max Out. He's a credit wrecker. His eyes are bigger than his wallet. And his credit score pays the price. You see, Max doesn't know he should only use 30% or less of his credit limit, because using his full line can lower his score. Don't be like Max Out. Instead, learn how to avoid the wreckers at creditwreckers.com. Credit One Bank for what's ahead.
It's game day, the day we've been waiting for. And this is more than just a game. It's a passion, a lifestyle. Here at the Raider Image, you're part of our team. Whether you're in the stands or cheering from home, we've got your back. Feel the confidence, own the game.
We
are the Raider Image. Your game, your gear. Exclusively at the Raider Image.
For the first time ever, step inside Allegiant Stadium on the eve of game day. When the building comes alive, this exclusive 75-minute guided tour gives you a rare access to the final pre-game prep, sound checks, lighting tests, rehearsals, and more. Go beyond the standard experience with behind-the-scenes access to suites, clubs, and areas off limits on regular tour. Hear untold stories of the stadium. Feel the energy of kickoff coming alive, and you might even spot Raider Rusher. This is your all-access pass to game day, before the gates even open.
I know there's no such thing as a moral victory, but there is a quality loss.
I want to see a team play with that energy and play with that effort.
There's one feisty little rookie that likes to force missed tackles.
We're back, Cynthia, and we're that much closer to draft season. The Raiders are zeroing in on a top 2 pick, potentially a number 1 overall. And earlier in the show, I talked to James Jones, and he said if he put his GM hat on and he had the number 1 pick, he would trade out to get more picks because there's so many things to address. In conversations I've had with the Hall of Fame coach, Tom Flores, he told me if you're drafting in the top 10, let alone the top 2, you don't have the affordability to draft for need or best player available because you got needs all over the place. Putting your GM hat on, and you look at the talent that's out there for the Raiders, what makes the most sense mathematically for them to go do with that top pick? I know we're 4 months out, but I got to ask you.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. First, the free agent situation. I mean, you saw someone like Malik Willis, for example, this past week, be a guy who maybe could be considered a quality, I don't want to say the word bridge, but a quality starter to sort of build around. So the reality is it's going to take all of the resources possible to evaluate exactly who's on the team right now and who will remain. And then you need to create a situation where you're getting the most players. I think actually both of them are right. If you're drafting in the top 10, you can't afford to be wrong. However, you also can't afford to not have a number of players to help support the strategy that you're trying to enact. So when I'm looking around here, I'm like, well, what's the best cost benefit analysis outcome when you're factoring in free agency as well. So for me, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to get to the combine. It's so different now. I keep coming back to this, but with these kids in the transfer portal, many of the guys don't have very thick playbooks. So it's going to make the evaluation season metrics even more important. Not the gymnastics, the underwear Olympics, not that part, but the interviews, right? To see how smart they are, what concepts they already know, things that as outsiders we have no idea about.
Yeah, and as John Spytek, the Raiders GM, said, when they go through that process, they want to talk to guys not only about what they do out there on the field, but the mental makeup. What makes them special? What makes them a fit for what they want a Raider player to be? So when you look at like the top 10 picks that are not even picks, but the best prospects that are out there right now by Mel Kiper at ESPN, number one, he's got Dante Moore from Oregon. He's got number two, Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback from Indiana. And then, it's always a quarterback-driven league anyways. When you look at those top 10 names right there, do you see anything that just kind of flashes right here, right now? Again, I know we're 4 months out, but says, this is a Raider. This is a guy that could potentially not only fill a hole, but help everybody else around him as well.
I mean, sure. I don't think the running back position is something to focus on at all.
True.
Let's just start with that. I also think, the two quarterbacks, it's so funny because we're sitting here in December and by the time we get to April, it's going to change 17 times. And the thought process is going to, just evolve so much. So it's really about solidifying the strategy that they want. To me, the thing that jumps out, I would trade down for like maybe, 5 O linemen. I'm just kidding. But a number of O linemen to really make a big difference right away, to really give whoever's behind the O-line a chance to succeed. And of course, helping the secondary corners I think in general, if you can find a good corner in the draft, you're doing yourself such a huge favor because there are more wide receivers out there in free agency. There are fewer really top-notch corners because teams do not let guys go very often, right? I bet you Trent McDuffie, who obviously I don't think we'll see him play for the Chiefs this week, but ultimately we've seen enough of him, but ultimately he's probably going to be the top guy. And it's only because the Chiefs probably can't afford to keep him, although I think it's perhaps ill-advised to get rid of him. But my point is you need top-notch corners. If you can find that guy, that's a huge uptick.
Yeah, and then from the draft perspective here as well, the Raiders haven't had a number 1 overall pick since 2007, Jamarcus Russell. They've only used, since the merger in 1970, a first-round pick on a quarterback 3 times. Jamarcus, Todd Marinovich, and Mark Wilson. And that's going to elicit some reactions from Raider Nation anyway. But when you look, now we look backwards a little bit here, and again, the draft is a crapshoot most of the time. How would you evaluate this 2025 rookie class? I know we joked a little bit about 5 new offensive linemen. Caleb Rogers is starting to kind of settle in there at right guard. He started 5 games this year. Ashton Jeanty, we talked about that. He only needs 112 yards to get to 1,000 for the season. And Darian Porter, this was the stat I mentioned this to James earlier that really stood out to me. He has not allowed a receiving touchdown all season long, and it's tied for the lead among rookie corners, minimum 100 snaps, and this is Pro Football Focus speaking. So how do you evaluate how these rookies have played for the Raiders this year?
Well, I think that the ones you named are great. The problem is what about the guys who was available? And I hate calling people out because I don't know what the thought process was. I wasn't in the room. I have no idea. But I didn't see a lot of production from Jack Besh. I'm just looking at it from afar. I don't know what happened in meetings, et cetera. But you got to kind of look at where someone was drafted. And if you're using a 2nd-round pick, you have to get production. If you're the Raiders, you can't afford to not have production from a guy who's drafted that high. So I'm just, again, not to pick on anyone. And it's all about substitutes and what was available at that particular number. And we're always going to have swings and misses. The position is a high value one. Wide receiver is for sure. But, what was available to you? What could you have done? And then what did you do? Those are different evaluation points.
Yeah, and he wasn't the only receiver drafted either. There was Dante Thornton as well, and I know that he was favored a lot.
He was drafted a lot later. Yeah. So the expectations were quite different. You need to pretty much be right about guys who are Thursday and Friday games. If you're drafting in the top of each round, you should probably hit, your goal should be to hit on those, and then if anyone else works, then it's great upside, right? But whereas, especially if you're in a mode where you're trying to start a new culture and it's maybe not the first time you've enacted a new culture in the past decade.
Yeah. And again, it's never too early or too late to talk about the draft picks. So
I love the draft.
It's always great.
Draft is my favorite. Yeah.
What about quarterbacks? What do you think about quarterbacks? Because if Geno Smith, who suffered an ankle injury in the game and came out, and if he's not ready to go this week, there's a couple of choices here. I mean, technically Kenny Pickett is the backup, but we've already seen him start at Philadelphia. You got Aiden O'Connell, who they'd have to activate to get him to come up, but he hasn't played for this regime, this coaching staff, since the preseason when he broke his wrist. And then kind of the elephant in the room here, the guy that this organization actually drafted, and again, they'd have to make a move to get him off the practice squad, Cam Miller. What do you think could and or should happen in this finale when it comes to that quarterback room?
If it's me, I want to see every single person that I have not evaluated yet. Yeah. So if they believe they have the full evaluation on Aiden O'Connell, then they should go with Cam. Like I believe you should know who's in the room, because it would be terrible to let someone great walk out the door just because you didn't evaluate them, right? So, it's such an interesting matchup because it's not the Chiefs defense or team that we had anticipated either. So, you have a chance here to really get your evaluations started. I understand that it's not like the outcome that Raiders Nation deserves necessarily, but it's you got to know now. You got to move forward. Like, this is what it is. We're here now, and I would try to. I want to see anyone that's in the building and ready to go. Again, they have to evaluate wrists and knowing enough of the playbook. That's really on people who are there every day. But if it's me, I'm trying to get everyone ready.
See, and I love the way you put it, too. You, like you said, you're not trying to call anybody out, but at the same time, if they already have their evaluation in hand, you need to see how these guys react specifically. And when it comes to Aiden, we have plenty. He started 17 games over his career already, but not for this regime, not for this staff. Cam Miller hasn't played in a regular season game yet. But then again, neither is Aiden. So, again, much smarter minds than I are going to just figure this out and go, but just something that's a little gristle for us to kind of chew on here heading into that. But what I really like to get to the bottom of with you every week is your number to know for this matchup between the Raiders and Chiefs. Neither team going to the playoffs. It's a strange Chiefs team, I know, but what's your number to know?
56%. So what I learned from watching the Broncos against the Chiefs was that they had 56% rushing success rate. And that was something that changed I know that the Broncos are a very strong team. They're potentially the number one seed in the entire AFC. So we're just looking at what could we learn from this. And to me, Ashton Jeanty is a piece that you want to get right to build around. So is it O-line concepts? Is it who's able to block in the run game? Like, which wide receivers are here to block? What are they willing to do? What is the evaluation to support what you've got with Ashton Jeanty, someone you devoted resources to and has a special talent? So I'm looking at that. They had a 56% rushing success rate. They had 4 different running backs or people who ran. It also could be their quarterback that had over a 50% rushing success rate in that game. They had a lot of success rushing to the left behind their left tackle. So can you kind of duplicate some of that, or it doesn't need to be to the left necessarily, but who can you run behind that you get that type of success where you're earning, positive, you're staying ahead of what the numbers would dictate when it comes to downs and distances going forward. Because you want to build, like, you just want to you want to know that the people on your team, you have the evaluation correct about them, so you can either move on or not. That's it.
We are all in evaluation season, draft season, and from what I'm hearing you tell me, you want to see Colton Miller make his comeback after not playing since the Bears game so that Ashton Jeanty can run outside him on the left side. Or Stone Forsythe.
I'm pretty sure that we know about Colton. We love Colton. We're big Colton fans here. I wish he would be playing for sure, but maybe now you have to look at the opportunity there to you could, in my opinion, you could never have too many O-linemen. There are no teams that can really have the luxury of being like, you know what, we have too many top tier left tackles. Like, no one's going to say that.
We're good. And 112 yards. That's the magic number for Ashton Jeanty. 112 yards to get to 1,000. That would be a feather in the cap for a very up and down star-crossed season, I guess you could put it, at best, for the rookie running back, Ashton Jeanty. Cynthia, thank you, as always, for joining me. So you can check out all of Cynthia's numbers to know. They're all available on the Raiders official YouTube page, as well as on Raiders.com. Cynthia, as Eddie Murphy said in Trading Places, Merry New Year.
Merry New Year.
Hey, that'll do it for this week's edition of Upon Further Review. Thanks to our guests, James Jones and Cynthia Frelund, for previewing the Raiders' season finale against the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday at Allegiant Stadium. To stay up to date on all things silver and black, check out our shows and watch them all on our YouTube channel, and visit Raiders.com for more content.